Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks, a gay geek podcast where we talk about all sorts of geeky things. Sometimes we know a lot, but sometimes our knowledge is
incomplete.
I was going to say that's Nick. I'm John.
I almost have done that as well.
That's John. I'm Nick. Say hi, questing queens. We're here to talk about Dungeons and Drag Queens. That's what they say at the beginning.
Okay.
That's what Brandon says.
Say it again.
Say hi, questing queens.
Hi, questing queens.
Say hi, questing queens.
And
hi,
they all
questing
go.
Queens.
Yep. Hi, questing queens.
I love the show so much.
Cute.
So, season 2 of Dungeons and Drag Queens has just started. Dimension 20 Dungeons and Drag Queens on Dropout TV.
Yes.
And we're just going to talk about it because I fucking love it.
I was going to say why. Please, Nick, tell us why we're talking about this.
Because I fucking love it.
Because Nick loves it and I haven't seen it, and that's very shameful of me.
No, it's because it's on Dropout.
No, I feel like I should.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen clips of it on TikTok and Instagram Reels, whatever. And I'm like, oh, this looks like fun.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, I've seen, is it Brandon or Brendan Lee Mulligan?
It's Brendan.
I've seen him on other sort of TikToks as well, and I think that it looks interesting, and I've always been interested, but never gotten around to actually watching an episode. Also, I don't know all those drag queens. Also, another sort of reason I tell myself why I don't watch it. But
yeah, so I knew Brennan. I knew College Humor from back in the day, from before they moved everything to Facebook, and then it crumbled and their whole business went down the tubes.
Right.
But they somehow managed to fix things and moved over to made their own streaming platform.
Is that what Dropout is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just College Humor that needed to be branded because it was College Humor on Dropout TV, but now it's just Dropout.
And it's a TV channel or like a sort of a streaming service. Got it.
So that's what Actually's on.
Yes. Okay.
And all those people. So it's just a place for all those comics to do all sorts of stuff. Not all of it is geeky.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of geeky stuff because Dimension 20 did really well because it's great. So we knew about him and that, and I think I'd seen maybe some clips of Dimension 20, but never much because it kind of just, I didn't recognize any of the people who were on it.
Okay, and what is Dimension 20? Is that the...
It's like Critical Role. It's a group of
That's
people.
the name of the show, then?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So they're the people who do different stories, campaigns, that sort of stuff.
Got it. Is it always Brendan Lee Mulligan? Or is
always Brennan.
Is it always the four drag queens?
No.
Okay, so that they got their own thing.
It's their College Humor people who normally do it.
Got it. Oh, right. I've seen those as well.
So they're all doing different things. And I've tried some of them, but they do like a high school superhero high or that sort of shit. And I'm like, no, I want like in the woods kind of stuff if we're going to do it. But anyway.
Adult stuff.
Yeah, so they're all very funny, that sort of thing. But the first episode last year of season 1 was on YouTube. And because I love Trixie and Katja and I love Bob, it was just on my feed. I'm like, Dungeons and Dragons. Like, that's gotta be cute. And Bob's in it, and Bob's hilarious. So I'll put it on, and each episode is over 2 hours long.
Yeah, they are,
And I think it took me like 2 or 3 days to watch it because it's one of those things where I'm like, if my phone goes, it's like, pause.
Yeah.
Okay, I loved every second, every drop of this kind of weird, perfect combination of gay drag queen culture and how it worked so perfectly with
Dungeons and Dragons.
With Dungeons and Dragons. And so after that, they're all on Dropout, so I subscribed to Dropout for
Well, that's good. I think a show like that and also Critical Role did the same thing as well. Like, when it was in its heyday, those episodes were 3 or 4 hours long because that is the amount of time it takes to do a Dungeons and Dragons session.
Yeah, and
a lot of
it's not the full story. There's like 6 to 8.
It's like a chapter or something.
Yeah, it's just a bit where they can pause and redo their makeup because it must go fucking ages.
What I'm assuming you don't see is all the behind the scenes of let's decide which spell my character is going to unlock. Or stuff like that. How to level up.
What's brilliant about it, I loved it, is because the drag queens on it are obviously famous drag queens. They are not Dungeons and Dragons nerds. They talk about it a little bit, and so the drag queens are, before we start, Bob the drag queen.
Yep, I know Bob.
Money Exchange.
Heard of her.
Jujubee.
Heard of her through you.
The clip of a Sensible 74. Have you seen that?
Nope.
Oh, she's so fucking funny.
I don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Neither do I.
Oh, okay.
I just...
Do you know of these?
If you're good, it's kind of like with Pop Idol, American Idol, X Factor. If they're good, they'll be good. Like Kelly Clarkson, I love. I never watched American Idol.
Right.
If you're good, you'll be good.
You'll be good outside the show as well.
You'll be good on shows. I hate reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yes. And Alaska Thunderfuck.
Also, I've heard of, but never seen her.
But this is the only time the first time I'd seen her and Jujubee. I'd seen Monet with Bob and Bob from Trixie and Katya. So none of them are D&D people. I think they have played before. Like, I think the nerdiest is Monet because she loves X-Men, Pokemon, everything like that.
Great.
So all her references are like doing some Professor X shit. And I'm like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I love it. So she's nerdy in that way, but obviously it's not their main thing.
Why didn't I wear that T-shirt with the dice on it? I just realized. Sorry, a bit of ADHD moment. You know, I've got that rainbow dice shirt.
That's great. You want that before, it's fine. We'll do another one. I'm sure we'll talk about Dungeons and Dragons again.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. And so they're hilarious. So their job is to be hilarious, but they don't know how to play the game. Like they said, like maybe played when they were kids with their older brothers or cousins, that sort of stuff. So what I loved about it, as someone who's interested in playing, but have never played, it's a very soft version of it. And the whole point of each episode is, Brennan's very soft on them. They're like, I'm going to do this. He's like,
well,
you can't really, but also it's not about that. It's fine.
Yeah.
So the rules are very lax, but they also ask lots of questions because they don't know what's going on. It's like, can I do this? Some of the time he's like, just do it, Jujubee. It's fine.
Just do it.
He's just like, you don't know what you're doing. It's fine. But I think the other three, Jujubee's just a wild fucking cannon. Mm-hmm. They're asking, like, Bob will ask, like, can I use that on myself? Or, like, how far does the fireball go? Do I have to? Yeah. So it's it keeps the momentum going, but it shows you how it would work. And because my biggest thing is, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I take it in turns? Am I allowed to interrupt? Do I say that? Can I just make something up?
Yeah.
So it's really a nice intro kind of way of seeing, like, this is all the ways it could go.
Yeah.
It's really up to the DM.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, because the DM, or as they call them nowadays, the GM, depending on what
yes,
they're
I think
playing.
they
changed it. Yeah, because
game master. Yeah,
which is fine. They're kind of interchangeable. They're not always
not really dungeons. And because DM has another meaning nowadays.
It does now. Director of Management.
Yes.
And what are you laughing at? What is it actually?
Direct message, you idiot.
Oh, of
People
course,
DM
yeah.
you. Direct messages.
I thought it was something like sexual, but that's BDSM. BDSM. That's not the same thing.
Or DL.
The DL. So yeah, the answer to that is like the DM or the GM is in control of the GM is in control of the story. They're the narrator, so they can decide what they want to allow in their game. But something like that, because obviously you've got Brennan Lee Mulligan, is it Brennan or Brennan Lee? What do we call him?
Brennan.
This is just Brennan, okay.
Yes.
So you're in control, and he's very adept at what he's doing, and so will take not just the drag queens but also the viewers into the world. And because it's a role playing game, like there's no board usually, like you can't have sort of maps and whatever else. It's about the story. It's about it's the theater of the mind kind of thing. Like you have to imagine all this stuff, which is different than what most people think of when they think of a board game or like a tabletop game. And it really is opening up Dungeons and Dragons and all these RPGs to a greater audience, which is great. And then at the same time, because they're asking these questions, can I do this? How does this work? It also helps like people who are watching it, who also like you, who don't have experience, they are going to ask those same questions. And so it helps them to learn how to play and understands the game. And when you understand the game, you enjoy it more.
Yeah, you were saying that, like, because he has to take the audience with them, which again, if you're in a normal game, you just kind of worry about if the people playing either can keep up or follow the rules or keep the story moving either in any direction or the direction you want to. But that's a good point, that he also has to keep it interesting for people watching as well as the people playing. And I'm sure I could go off and explain why you're a different class, and actually, though that doesn't work on that because you've already rolled for that, but let's keep it more entertaining, which makes it even lighter and easier to kind of start getting into the excitement.
There's a fair amount of editing, I'm sure.
Oh, of course, but
but like you have to.
Let's go off on ones for ages. Well, they leave a lot in, so I'm trying to think what they do cut out. But
so, what is a typical episode like? And you said there's one season already, and there's been 8 episodes. You said
I think it was
something
8.
like that.
So season 2 has just started, and they are playing the same characters.
Yep.
But it's a different
adventure.
Yeah.
So they completed an adventure in the first season.
There was a finale because, again, who knows if that would have been successful. Apparently, I wish I remembered the stats. Bob was saying that show was so successful that they had to build another studio just to play Dimension 20 because it was so successful because of that, because of Dungeons & Drag Queens. Which is true. Like, I subscribed because of it, and it changed the way you look at playing or watching other people play this game. It made it so much more pop culture and accessible rather than super nerdy. But also nerdy.
That is TV nowadays, isn't it?
Hell yeah.
I mean, if I did that as well, like if I ever started a game, which I should do, write in if you want to join in. We'll take.
Please bully him into starting a game because we've been talking about it for 2 years now.
2 years. We're taking applications still. But like, that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to sort of make sure everyone's on the same page, basically. So
yes.
So they completed an adventure.
Yes.
In one season, on a new adventure. Do you know what level they're at now? Because you have to level up at some point, don't you? Is it strictly D&D, or is he mixing other RPGs into it? Because I know that.
How would I know?
I don't know. Maybe they mention it. Because Critical Role.
Yeah.
Critical Role started as a Pathfinder group.
What's the difference?
I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
Pathfinder, but because there's a gunslinger in Critical Role. And gunslingers don't exist in D&D, but they exist in Pathfinder. So they found a way to sort of adapt the characters from Pathfinder into the D&D.
Sure.
They're both RPGs. They're both set in fantasy world. They were very closely linked until about like 6-8 months ago because D&D changed its policy on I forget what it's called. How other people can use their material and profit of it. Pathfinder had to sort of change a lot of things.
Which is fair, because if you're like making shit tons of
money,
which is
fair, and I think
based on their idea,
I think Pathfinder and the company that owns it, called Paizo, they made a lot of money off of basically a D&D product, and so that's fine. But they can't use certain races that have been invented for D&D. They can't use them anymore.
I'm gonna look up because I know what their names are, their characters' names.
Oh yeah,
do that.
Look
up and see.
Their classes.
Yeah, to see if they've actually.
So about Pathfinder as well. So basically, the setup is the same. Where you have like, it's an RPG where you have a world where you interact with each other, and then as soon as you hit combat, then it becomes turn-based. Like that kind of concept is the same as D&D. That's because you can't copyright a way to play a game kind of thing. But you can copyright certain elements in the game. There's a big whole legal battle about it, but also because D&D is still owned by Wizards of the Coast, which is owned by Blizzard now, and we don't like them.
Like Dairy Queen?
No, Blizzard as in like World of Warcraft Blizzard.
Oh, yeah. Why don't we like them?
And Overwatch.
Big Trump fans?
They actually, not necessarily, but they did sort of hire a lot of, they hired a handful of people who used to be in like the Trump administration as well. And there was a big history of, well, I should say accusations of like a toxic workplace, bullying, harassment.
It happens a lot in the gaming world, doesn't it?
I don't know if it's gone away completely yet, but there's there's legal stuff. So we don't really like them at the moment, which is why I'll promote Pathfinder. Anyway, the different play styles, like D&D has like what you can do on your turn. You can attack, you can move.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate is based on those D&D rules.
Right.
Pathfinder is like you have 3 actions, and of those actions, like one can be move, one can be cast a spell, one can be like use an item, for example.
Okay.
And there's different stuff like that, and also sort of Pathfinder seems to have a lot of terms, like tags they call them, that interact with each other. So like when you're down, you're also blinded or whatever. Or when you're casting a spell, you're also concentrating on a spell, for example. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on that you have to keep track of, but it also makes it more deep.
Yeah.
And then also Pathfinder, they have a lot more options in classes and how you can play style. Where in D&D is more about what you can do with your one character, if that makes sense. Sorry, that was a deep cut, I think.
No, I love that. Okay. I'm trying to see how
we talked before.
That fits in with what they're doing. And the difference, obviously, a very clear difference between the TV show and then how an actual game would run.
Right.
So I don't get too comfortable thinking it's like, oh yeah, they just do that because Monet Exchange did that. It's like this isn't how a real game would go.
Well, there's a lot of sort of similarities as well.
But knowing the difference. Apparently, system Dungeons and Dragons 5th
Fine.
edition.
Which make 5th ed. So basically
Campaign type side quest for both of them. I don't know what that means.
I'm not quite sure what side quest means.
It's just a wiki, so it could be
5th ed is just the most recent style of... So... we mentioned this a little bit in the D&D episode, but basically there was... They introduced new rules, new classes for each edition. Yeah. 3rd edition was...
like a handbook kind of thing?
Yeah, it comes with a handbook. 3rd edition was a big hit. They altered the rules somewhat for... they call it edition 3.5. People love 3.5.
Okay.
Edition 4 came out. Everyone hated it. They changed a lot of the combat rules. So people, that's kind of when Pathfinder took off and made their own thing.
Was it too complicated or just not in the same spirit it used to be?
I think it was just a spirit thing. I don't know if it was. I don't know the level of complexity. The first edition of Pathfinder was largely also you can move, you can do an action on your turn kind of thing. Pathfinder's 2nd edition, it became the thing about you get 3 actions and one of them is, because you don't have to move at all. You can use that to do something else, whatever.
Okay.
But that's when it became famous. But then when Dungeons & Dragons 5th ed came out, they kind of reverted back to 3.5. And people liked that. And that came out, oh gosh, that was maybe, was that 6-7 years ago by now? And that's been a big hit. And so since then, they've had other expansions and DLCs, as you might call it, that have just built on 5th ed. So it's very popular. But also Pathfinder's 2nd edition is very popular as well.
Okay.
So
this is D&D.
This is D&D.
So
I would probably prefer to play... if I started DMing, I'd be a Pathfinder person because that's kind of... Also, the game that I used to play with was Pathfinder, not technically D&D. Very similar. Okay, so
well, I have their characters, but it does tell me what their class and subclass and race and pronouns.
Tell me about the characters because I'm a person, like some of our listeners are going to be, who have never seen the show. Outside of crazy TikToks, they might have sort of... created. So tell me about the characters and tell me their class, and I'll tell you about the classes.
Okay, that's great. Okay, yeah? So we'll start with Troyan.
Troyan, one word. Okay.
Let's go to her.
Which actor is this?
This is Monet.
This is Monet Exchange. Okay.
Troyan is an assassin, very focused on her work.
So a rogue.
So she is. Oh, how does it describe it?
Well, keep going.
Do you want all? You don't want me to keep any of the details?
Tell me the race and class, and gender. Not that gender matters.
Fighter class.
Oh, fighter. Okay.
Arcane archer subclass. Race mer, because it's an underwater character.
Right. So mer is like mermaid.
Yes, mer triton.
A fighter.
She her.
A fighter class. I love a female fighter.
They're all females.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the questing queens. So.
Fair enough.
All...
Whenever I play D&D or Pathfinder or even Baldur's Gate, I always choose a gender that is just atypical to the class. Like if I
love that.
I choose the class first, and then I decide if I want to be a male, female, or other. And so like if I want to be a sorcerer, I'll make it a male sorcerer. If I want to be a fighter or barbarian, I'll make a female. Anyway,
I agree. I think I like that kind of.
Yeah. So too. Fighter, a fighter.
Arcane
archer. Okay. So fighters, they're adapted with weapons. Basically, that's the whole thing. So they're strong. If you focus on archer, I've never played as an archer before, but arcane just means you also have some magical ability as well.
Yeah. I guess because she's. Oh wait, if I remember, it doesn't say this, but she's half elf. Her dad is elf, and her mum is the queen of Everdeep. And underwater. It's so
Everdeep. Okay, so half elves is just a race. Half elf is a race. I don't know how that interacts with mer, but keep going.
Okay, so personality. Yeah, she's very old, and while she's often sought death, she has never found it for herself. Her mum describes her as having an extreme sense of bravery, though Gertrude, another character, admits she's a bit of a loose cannon.
Mm-hmm.
So she's half merfolk, half elf, giving her legs and the ability to travel on both land and deep sea.
Okay.
Do you think there's a ton of stuff? Do you want like background or anything like that?
That's fun. Tell me something that she's done in the game that remember. Something fun.
Well, again, it's fun because they don't know how to play this.
Yeah.
So there was this whole the first campaign mission. was to go into the underworld. Mm-hmm. And when they get...
Do you mean the Underdark? Or do you mean like the Hades underworld?
Yeah, Dead.
Okay, Deadland, okay. Deadland.
And there's a bit where they're like finding some stuff and they're trying to get to the other side of the river, that sort of thing. Obviously Troyan can swim, but the others can't, that sort of thing. They go through this whole complicated thing where like there's a dead whale and they like levitate the whale and they walk across the carcass and all this kind of stuff. And they get there and they do all that, and then Monet's like, I have a power where I can make everyone walk on water. It's like, fuck! They spent ages doing it. It's like, I have that. Would that have been helpful?
Would that have been helpful?
Yes, that's exactly what you wanted.
Do they have artwork of these characters?
They do.
I want
Would
to
you
see.
like? Do you want to see?
I
her?
do want to see. Yes, and
See if we can make her full size.
Oh, cute! Oh, I like the little fins on the legs as well. Arcane archer and a spear. Very nice. I'm all about weapons as well.
They made little figurines for the final episode.
Oh, cute! Because that's a big.
Their own ones.
That's a big industry because you can 3D print. What's it called? Is it Hero Lab? You can actually sort of craft a figure, like pose them, and then they can print it, and then you can paint it. Painting is a big deal for some of these people.
But she's cool, and Monet was saying that she loves all the she always goes for a water character, so she loves Katara and
Waterbenders,
Pokemon.
yeah.
She loves all the
Right.
Pokemon, so that's why she wanted to do
Cute.
a water-based one, and it's really cool. I really like Monet, but she's so determined to be like dramatic readings, but she gets everything wrong.
Yeah.
So when she's like interacting with characters, which is always Brennan, and she's like, "What is your quest here?" Wait a minute, no, that's not right. So it's
Well, she changes her voice and stuff.
yes, she it goes kind of fake British kind of stuff or whatever.
Right.
She really
A bit
has
of-
it because you can tell she's like, "I love this geeky shit." This is she
Yeah.
wants to really get into it.
Yeah.
But she does all this stuff, and you can tell Bob's just like, "No, that's wrong. That's wrong."
Like, honey, just
So,
ask him the question.
Just ask the question and go.
I know you mentioned it a little bit, but tell me about her personality a little bit. Like, she's the daughter of a queen.
Yes.
And what's her goal? What's her motivation in the game?
I think it's because her dad went missing. What was her? I don't want to give it away.
No. Don't tell me the premise, not the result. I might go back and watch those episodes.
You absolutely should. It's like $5.99 for a month.
Okay.
You could binge all of season 1, and then you can keep up with season 2. Because her mum is the queen of Everdeep, and she sent her out on a mission
To find the father?
called. I've forgotten because of stuff. And
Okay.
It was a year and a half ago,
Okay.
or a year ago when this came out. And I don't want to give away the ending. So I'm going to move on
Fine.
to a different one.
So her mother sent her out on a mission, some sort of mission.
Yes, and that's why she's
And
with them.
this is separate than like the mission that the four of them find each other.
No, it all ties into the same thing
Oh, okay.
because it's TV and easier. Be like, what a coincidence!
Yeah.
It just makes it easier.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I'm assuming that obviously it makes sense that Brennan would have a campaign that he's created that kind of brings them together in a certain way. That's kind of the first task you have to do as a DM is figure out why these people are together, why they form a adventuring group.
The first episode, and I think it's the same with season 1, it feels a bit at first because Brennan has to do so much talking at the beginning of it because the first, like you say, the first episode they have to meet each other and then get the setup. So Brennan's doing all the description and trying to be like that, and they're like, "Tell me about your character," and they're like,
That's always like,
"I am Princess of Everdeep. What else?"
well,
Yeah, what?
I'm a first level fighter.
No, don't do any of
know.
that. So it's quite clunky when it gets started, but it's fun to see,
Yeah.
especially as the season goes on.
And they have to get used to living that character as well.
Yeah, because they're used to being presenters or on stage and that sort of stuff. So that's why it's really funny, especially if you can binge it. The first episode, it's very like, can I do this and that sort of stuff? And by the end of the campaign, everyone's crying and they're like, ah! It's so fun to see how they fall in love with the playing of the game and get used to it and be like, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Stealth check time, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's really cute.
I love it.
Okay.
So who's next?
We've got Princess Faux Hammer, played by...
Faux as in Faux.
No, as in foe.
Unfortunately.
Enemy.
I see.
F-O-E Hammer. Princess Foe Hammer, played by Alaska Thunderfuck, who I think is the queen I knew the least going into this.
Tell me about Princess Foehammer.
Barbarian.
Okay.
Subclass Berserker. Race Orc.
Okay, Orc. Orcs are very good at being barbarians. Basically, it's similar to fighters, but less weapony, more just rage. The whole thing is
Berserker
they can go into rage.
Can they go into
and
rage? Yeah.
Berserker as a subclass, you kind of lead into that even more. Like you get more opportunities to rage, or
okay, cool.
Or some stats get boosted when you rage. Like there's different kinds of rage you can do. Not a lot. I'm thinking back to Baldur's Gate leveling up Karlach and what she could do because she's also a barbarian. But yeah, I mean, I have played barbarians and they're fun, but they're also not very complicated.
Yes. Which also does, I don't know if they got advice for it, but really does suit Alaska because she is very funny, but again, I don't know her very well. Her humor is like,
right.
Very simple input.
And
so she played Princess as like, yes. And it compared to someone like Monet and Bob, who was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And Jujube's like, I'm going to go do that. So it was quite,
right.
Everyone's trying to do it. It just kind of suited her way of doing it. So I don't know if she was recommended. It's like, barbarian.
Maybe barbarian.
Because you can do one-word answers and that sort of stuff.
That's interesting because also when I played a barbarian as well, it's like I did that because barbarians tend to also have a low intelligence score as one of your 6 scores. I don't know if you know, but you have like strength, charisma, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and constitution. And then
Constitution check. Got it.
That's, you know what that is.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I put the con in Constitution. Like that's
is that
Jujube.
I see.
It's like, I don't know what that means.
Constitution indicates like how well you can withstand certain environments or like poison, for example. It also indicates how much more health you get when you level up. So the higher your Constitution, the more hit points you have. So it's always good to have a decent Constitution. What was I saying? Barbarians. They tend to have low intelligence because they don't study, No. And so it's easy to play a barbarian because if you just don't know the world, then I just play barbarian because I'm expected to not know anything in the world.
Tags along, and then when the final battle was like, go to rage.
You basically,
go. Yeah, it was less complicated.
And what did you do in your turn? I attack. I attack.
I don't know what that means.
I hit them again with my weapon.
Yes.
What's your weapon of choice at the moment? Axe, yeah.
Big axe.
A great axe.
Big, great axe. Physically imposing.
So tell me about her playstyle / personality.
So,
backstory.
Her backstory is that her whole family was killed.
Oh.
And her mission is to go and get them back in the
underworld. I was like, you said killed. Get them back. Oh, right, okay.
I believe, yes. And that's what the journey is. Would you like to see her?
Absolutely.
There she is.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love this art.
It's great, isn't it? I love it.
I love the little bows in the ears as well.
She thinks of herself as like petite and dainty. I don't know if she's actually smaller than other orcs, but she kind of thinks of herself that way. Cute.
Love it.
Uncomplicated. Yeah, that's the story, is to go and
smash things
and get her family back.
Fair. Good.
Basic. But we like it.
Next. Who's next? What do we got?
Gertrude.
Okay, Gertrude. Yeah.
Gertrude is an ancient witch in the world of Kelvorda, which is
right.
Yeah. Played by Bob, the drag queen.
Gertrude played by Bob. Okay.
Sorcerer.
Right.
Subclasses: Shadow Magic. Race: Tiefling.
Tiefling. So Tiefling is D&D's version of like demons, basically, or demon.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. She also has massive horns on her.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that because
most tieflings have horns and a tail.
It makes a lot of sense.
And it's not demons in the sense of not goblins, like demons that you fight, but like demon, like one of your ancestors was a demon kind of thing. Okay. So you've got demon blood in you. So from either the underworld or some demonic plane, I suppose. They can be a variety of colors, and they often have an extra sort of ability based on that color? Or am I thinking of dragons? I'm not sure. Maybe there's something similar. Tiefling sorcerers are very good because also sorcerer as a class, as opposed to wizards, which we talked about before.
Yes.
Sorcerers have an innate ability of spell casting, so
Yes.
it comes from either your bloodline or some innate knowledge.
Inherent magical ability, it just says.
Exactly.
But still spends her time studying, learning how to be more powerful.
Yeah, fine. Sorcerer.
Her character is.
What's her subclass, did you say? Shadow something?
Shadow magic.
Shadow magic. I don't know anything about shadow magic, actually. So I wonder if it's like a newer thing, but because I haven't played for like at least a year, actual D&D, but shadow magic. Yeah.
Her mission again, I went, it's a bit of a giveaway, but.
What is her background?
Her background, she's a loner, so she lives alone in the woods and doesn't want to get into trouble or anything like that, so she just lives solo.
Mm-hmm.
It's revealed early on, so I don't think it's too much. So
okay.
I apologize. It's a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't watched season 1 and you don't want to be spoiled by Bob's storyline, because it's a cool twist.
Yeah, skip ahead 5 minutes if you...
A few minutes, we won't talk much. She is ancient and immortal, and she wants to get rid of her immortality. She wants to be able.
Does she know that she's immortal?
Yes.
Okay.
She's lived for hundreds, thousands of years.
Does she know why she's immortal? I don't know.
Well, she doesn't explain it.
Okay.
That's her mission, is to
get rid of her immortality.
To die. Yeah. That's
interesting. I don't think immortality, except for like deities, I don't think immortality is a big thing in D&D. I don't think I remember coming across it.
Okay. So it's a curse on her, maybe. That's the way they play it. And she wants to get this curse of immortality removed.
It could be.
So it's revealed pretty early on, because once they get to the underworld, she reveals that.
Right.
I've come here to get rid of this immortality.
So she can die.
So that I can eventually die.
In D&D and in Pathfinder as well, like if a character that you play if you're in combat and your character goes down, you typically have a certain number of turns before you actually die, because you can be sort of helped by another player or healed by another player within that time. Then you're kind of fine, with some sort of drawbacks. Like anyway, but if you die, then there's options to either bring you back. I think there's a difference between like resurrection versus
necromancy.
No, resurrection versus not restoration. There's
that's
one
a thing. That sounds like a thing.
That's not the spell I'm thinking of though. There's resurrection, and basically I don't know why I'm not forgetting that, because I've not played for a long time. There's a spell that they're not easy spells to do, but there's a spell that could bring you back as you are, like revitalization, something like that. And there's a spell where like if your body has been obliterated, for example, they can take like some of your body to call back your soul, and they put you into another body, basically.
Okay.
Which I don't remember if that's resurrection or
reincarnation.
Thank you, reincarnation. Oh, who's the nerd?
We got there.
Yes. Resurrection's better because obviously if you reincarnate as a different body, your stats could be all different. Yeah. Anyway, so she wants to die.
So that's Gertrude.
Ooh, she's a dark tiefling. Horns that go straight up. I like it. And a staff.
That works so cool. It's so fun.
Yeah, this artwork is great. Gertrude.
Not to be biased, because Bob is one of my favorite drag queens. Bob is brilliant at this.
Mm-hmm.
Because whereas Alaska is very... Yes. Like, do you want to, like, Brennan really kind of like, do you want to roll for this one? Yes. And it's... Which is funny.
Okay.
But Bob is smart and gets into it. And I think the whole point of it, I imagine, when you're playing a game, is for people to get really into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as you can see here, like with the magic whatever thing, rather than just saying, oh, can I just throw a magic ball?
Yeah. Magic ball.
He acts it out.
Yeah.
So she's like really nervous and she's really running, but she holds her hands together and goes and all this kind of stuff. You get it's so animated, but so you're just kind of really drawn in. So I love
that's great.
That obviously they're performers and actors, so they're good at this.
Yeah.
And comedians,
yeah.
So they're good at this. It feels like Jujubee's always confused. Alaska's always quite, and maybe Monet is trying a little bit too hard, whereas Bob's just like
just do it. Yeah,
is in it. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong because he also understands.
Because Brendan will
it doesn't
tell
matter.
you. It doesn't matter.
We're not playing a real game. This is entertainment. Let's give as much entertainment as possible.
Fair. That's really good. Good instinct. Good entertainment instincts. And also, like, if it's just fun to get into the world if you act it out. If I ever DM, I'd make my characters act it out.
And then it makes other people get more into it. He wasn't afraid of looking stupid because they're already drag queens.
I mean, the drag queens.
Like, come on, guys.
Looking stupid.
Let's go.
It's like us being afraid of getting something wrong on a podcast.
We let go of that a long time ago.
Yeah, true.
That ship has sailed.
Cute. So that's her basic motivation is just to die. Well, to get rid of immortality.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Then what? I wonder where. Well, I mean.
I won't say.
Okay, yeah. No parents, so to speak.
No parents, no family that we know of.
A loner in the woods.
Yes.
Okay.
Witch of the Frost Moon, apparently. Well,
cute. Well, like I said before, witches are technically not a class in D&D, but they are in Pathfinder. But I don't know how they interpret that. You could just, it's nothing wrong with, obviously you can just say that you're a witch and sort of use sorcerer spells.
Maybe because she's a sorceress, but because she studies and learns and like hides away, she acts like a witch would act, doesn't they? They keep to themselves.
Yep.
They learn, they live on nature, and she's studying and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And like I think at the beginning she's like helping people out and selling spells and stuff like that, which is very witch behavior. So her power comes from is sorcery, but she's it's like a witch. Maybe that's kind of how
that's a good way to put it.
It may also not matter because it's a TV
it doesn't
show,
matter because it's a game.
Fun.
It's sort of like when you're DMing, you sort of say you get a character, a player that wants to say, "I want to be a witch," and you're like, "Well, that doesn't really exist, but let's take your idea and fit it into the game, like how this would work out." Because the point is that the player is gonna want to play the way they play it.
Hell yeah. So yeah,
it's good. Love it.
One more. Let's finish with Twyla.
Love the name Twyla.
Played by Jujubee.
Last but not least.
Absolutely. She's so fucking funny.
Oh my god, I just got a glimpse of the photo.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Ranger class.
Right, okay.
Subclass Gloomstalker?
Gloomstalker, yes.
Race
I know what that is.
Fairy.
Fairy! Of course. All right. Rangers have the unfortunate.
Oh no, she was a fighter. Troy-Ann was a fighter.
Yeah.
But she is also an archer.
Yes. So Rangers typically. So if you think about it in terms of stats, fighters tend to be high on strength.
Okay.
Oh, and also dex, because obviously that has to do with moving.
Dexterity.
Yeah. Sorry. I said dex like a natural.
We know what it is.
And Rangers tend to be high on dex because of all the jumping around, I guess. So they tend to prefer dexterity-based weapons like bows and other sort of weapons like that. Rangers have the unfortunate stereotype of being the worst class in D&D. Yeah. Why? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's because they don't have a lot of good abilities historically. I should add as well, because to their credit, D&D and Wizards of the Coast have been trying a long time to sort of make the Ranger a better class. So like when my first solo playthrough of Baldur's Gate, I was like, I want to be a Ranger just because just to see what the fuss is about. The Rangers often have the ability to have like an animal companion that they can conjure.
Oh, I love that.
They tend to be connected, depending on the subclass, but they can be connected to nature in some way or animals or something like that. So the Gloomstalker is a subclass where you would tend to be close to the shadows in a way.
Ooh.
So you can hide. Did I actually... I can't remember if my Ranger in Baldur's Gate was a Gloomstalker or a Beast Slayer, whatever it's called. Beast Slayers, you can sort of say, I'm an expert at slaying this particular kind of creature, like beasts or animals or aberrations or undead, whatever. Gloomstalker, so you're close to the shadows. You can often go easily into stealth mode, that kind of thing. Yep. Being a fairy, I'm assuming she's also tiny.
She's 4'11".
Okay, so tiny, so
small, but
so humans. So in the sizes, humans are medium, so you fit into one square. But you can also be like small. You can also be like halflings and dwarves and gnomes are small, and then usually fairies are tiny or like ogres are like large, humongous, whatever. There's names for them. 411, did you say?
Yeah.
So not tiny.
The thing is, a lot of what happens is, like a running joke is, they'll say it, and once they've said it, they're like, well, that's canon now. And because Jujubee doesn't know what's happening, a lot, like most of them, will just say stuff, and they're like, well, that's canon now. So
right,
she probably was like, I'm petite, like 4'11". It's like, well, that's canon now. So that happens a lot of the thing, because obviously they're not following strict rules. It's more about what they say, and it's fun. But
so if you got like fairy blood, you're 4'11", fine. Like I've never played as a fairy, but they're just sprightly and mischievous oftentimes.
Again, a good choice for Jujubee. I feel like there was some guidance.
They probably
of which
said,
ones is like,
yeah. All the experts from Dimension 20.
Yeah, there would have been plenty of people who would have helped.
It'd be funny if we could lean into this sort of the fact that you just are a wisecracker and make you a fairy. What do you think about that?
I think that's great.
So what is her weapon of choice then? If she's a fairy,
I don't know if she actually has a weapon,
or because you can have as a ranger you can. I think you do get a limited number of spells.
In her image, she's got little magic stuff
look.
there. Oh, where's it gone? There we go.
Oh my gosh, ridiculous!
So cute.
Like even the spellcaster has a staff.
I think she's got
a bow,
and arrow of some kind. Again, she doesn't really know how to use it. none of her battles are won because of her ability. It's often about, she'll say some stuff and then Brennan will be like, oh, so what you mean is why don't you roll for, and then it just works out. They're not taking this seriously. Her people were wiped out by Zarya Hex, who is the bad guy. She's the bad guy that they're all after
in the underworld. Yep.
I don't want to. I don't remember much of it. B, I don't want to give it away because it's fun to watch.
Sure.
So she wants to, get revenge. She also has.
So similar to the barbarian, then, that the family was wiped out. The barbarian.
Yes, but I don't know if the barbarian knows who it was.
Okay.
If it was Zarya Hex.
But the barbarian is just getting their family back.
Yes. Whereas all of, is it Arcadia? Is her whole kingdom was wiped out and destroyed.
Oh, right.
So she has the seed of something or other.
Okay.
So when she plants, I don't know.
Oh, to rebuild her kingdom.
Something like that. Right. But I don't know why she doesn't just pick a nice area of the forest and do it. So there must be, I must have forgotten a load of stuff. But something like that.
Some good storyline, some lore.
It's good. And again, it's good that it's not too complicated because Jujubee would never remember it. I don't remember it. So...
being a DM is a lot of work.
So much stuff.
Remembering everything, yeah.
Their mission to travel to the underworld after escaping the fight in the foreign disguise.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to... Seeking the restoration of her people.
Okay, so there must be something in the underworld she needs in order to rebuild her kingdom. In a way. Okay.
The night the Fae fell to the forces of Zara. Yeah. That's kind of it.
Cool.
Any other things with fairies? No, that's all covered.
No, I don't know.
So yeah,
you cannot play as a fairy in Baldur's Gate 3. I don't remember. I'm not. Do I have the? I don't know. I don't remember how. Again, you come in. You have your DM. Let me start over.
Say a full sentence.
Let me start over with this.
This is before we've had anything to drink.
We haven't had anything. We have stuff to drink.
We sure do.
I don't remember if a fairy is a legitimately playable character in Dungeons and Dragons. I know it is in Pathfinder, but it is a newer character.
Okay.
Because obviously, with usually if you're a tiny size, you have different things you can do and cannot do. Like you can't lift up a table, or whatever. Or maybe you can. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. So I don't know. It could be another case of them saying, I want to play a fairy, and then the DMs or whoever's going to create this story is going to be like, okay, we'll make it work. Which I think is the great thing about all of these RPGs is you just say we can make it work. Back in the day when I first started theorizing about making a DM campaign, I had a friend of mine say, I want to be a wizard, but I want my wand to be a dildo. And I was like, sure, that's fine. We can make it work. Why not? Like,
But that's fun.
Not even mentioning that wizards don't actually have wands necessarily.
So it could, like, the reveal would be like halfway through the campaign. It's like, wait, this doesn't do anything. You're just carrying around a dildo. You're just a crazy person.
It would be
hilarious.
hilarious.
It doesn't do anything. That's great. Brennan said, like, the whole point of these games is like you don't win these games. The point is to tell a story and to have fun. So I think that's I think the rules are important, otherwise you go all over the place. But this shows that you can, if you're all in it, like you're putting the right amount of effort into it and really enjoying it, kind of.
There has to be a sort of balance between, obviously, like if as a player you say, well, on the way out of the church I'm gonna steal a few coins from the receptacle. Now I have a few coins. The DMs to be like, no, wait. In order to get away with that, you need to roll the check and see if anybody sees you, kind of thing, or if you make any noise, kind of thing. So there's a balance between the storytelling.
Because I never would have thought that. I'm gonna suck at this. Does the DM have to say stuff like that, or could he have just like, yeah, okay, cool, carried on?
Yes.
Okay. But it's up. That makes it more interesting to be like, did you get away with it?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because a lot of the good DMs that I can remember watching is when you make the players have consequences for the actions that they choose,
Yeah, exactly.
So like if you choose to not save that child, then you're going to have repercussions later on when that child could have done something to help you later on, but now they're still trapped or whatever. And like, the story evolves with you, and it isn't sort of a predetermined story.
God, it's got to be so much work.
It is. And the funny thing is that like I watch TikToks and Instagram Reels where it's crazy things that players try to do, and the DM has to be like, okay,
yes,
well, I just prepared this whole dungeon, and the players have decided to just blow up the entrance. So this session we're gonna walk around the woods.
While I think of something.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to be prepared for that, or like if you have sort of an NPC come up and deliver a message, then the intention is for that character to go back to the city, but the players be like, "Oh, well, where do you come from? You look interesting. Like, what do you do?
Come along with us.
What's your name? What's your parents like? And do you have any spells? My name is Bob.
Pat. Yeah,
Barbara.
Right. Yeah,
and I have
vamping.
And what color? The players would be like, "What color shirt is he wearing?" And the DM's like, "Green,
green shirt."
Yeah,
let's not take it too far.
Turns out that messenger has a big role in the story down the line. For example, like that could also be a thing.
That's exhausting. Anyway,
a lot of
Dungeons and Drag Queens streaming now on Dropout.
Yeah, they're not a sponsor, but we just genuinely. Well,
I'm a massive fan. I think it's great. I wish it didn't take a whole year. Or however
you mean a session?
No.
One session.
between seasons. Like I wish they would get other non D&D players. Maybe like not drag queens, although I don't know if I'd watch. But like in between each season, because they're all super famous now, and must be really difficult to book them to get them to. It must take days to film this because it's 2 hours per episode.
Oh yeah, no, you need a break
after editing.
Yeah. I mean, a campaign.
How much effort?
I mean, if you're lucky to get a D&D campaign where you can play every week, that's great, and you still will play for months. A lot of times people nowadays they're just too fucking busy.
Yeah,
if you can play a session once every 2 weeks, that's standard nowadays. But those sessions are going to last between 3 and 4 hours.
Yeah,
because there's a time. There's oh, I'm running late. Okay. Now we got to talk about your character sheet. Like, what are you boosting for this? Don't forget you have that item that gives you a +2 to your whatever. And it's like, until you actually get to playing it, people are like, we're not played for 2 weeks, and I was gone the last time, so I'm not played for 4 weeks. What's happening? People have to be caught up on the story. Like it's a commitment.
The logistics are more difficult than playing the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was talking about the TV show. Like it'd be really fun if they had another group of it's a good parallel. Yeah. Another group of non-players who are like good comedic people. Although I don't know
famous in some way.
I don't know if it would work as well as drag queens because they seem like such a
they're such personalities,
compatible
aren't they?
opposite to like the like nerdy, less than bigger, words.
The stereotypical geek who's
even the comedians who play it, they are not extravagant characters. They're often
sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Like they're
button
not
shirt, nerdy kind of.
They're
funny.
not known for being
they're funny comedians.
presenters,
They're not
I suppose.
massive wig wearing, lipstick having, drag queen, that sort of stuff. So I think that's why it's really fascinating. It's such a big difference on it.
Yeah.
Get some more drag queens. Do some more.
More drag queens.
More of it. Different ones. I thought they'd have different ones. On one hand, that would have been nice. On the other hand, it's like these four are so
yeah.
They've just figured out how to use it.
So,
roughly. And they
I forgot to have this spell that lets you walk on water.
It's really good. That's it.
Fun.
That's the end of the episode. Bye.
Well, could you imagine? No, I need to start watching it. I need to start watching it. Yeah. And the first season's done. Second season started on Dropout.
Yeah, and it's weekly, so it's not.
Where can people get a hold of us if they want to get a hold of us?
Well, if we got lots of things wrong, you can message us. You can email us incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to us, message us, tag us on the socials for however long they are still there, at Incomplete Geeks on Instagram and TikTok if it survives the ban.
Yes.
The easiest way to support this podcast is by visiting us also on patreon.com/gaygeeks. You can sign up for free to get in touch with us, tell us what you want us to cover, or you can support us with payment tiers as little as $1 a month. We really appreciate it. It's the easiest way to support this podcast and keep it going. Thank you very much.
That was very good. Yeah.
It was, wasn't it?
It's like you had to
do this for a job.
Yeah.
I don't.
If we got anything wrong,
Yeah.
I mean, I could gotten some D&D stuff wrong. Heaven forbid, we got Brendan's name wrong.
We got Brendan's name wrong so often. Oh
Let us know. We're so sorry. It's not like we're complete geeks.
We are working on it, though.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.